YouTube, how's it going? The GOAT House is back with Week 6 Fantasy Football Q&A. You guys ask your questions on our Twitter, and I'm here to answer them. Usually I got a few other guys with me this week, I think because, the schedule change, the Tuesday night game. I'm here myself. Could have had one more here with me, but then if we were split decisions, we wouldn't really be answering your questions. So I'm here to answer these. If you want to get involved, follow our Twitter. You see it on the screen. You see it in the description in the comments. We have an Instagram, podcast, Patreon as well. Trying to reach 60K. We got weekly picks, weekly score predictions, weekly power rankings, plenty more. We got you covered. Subscription, I think, will be well worth it, and we much appreciate that. Patreon has a bunch of extra content, junior score predictions, already up this week. My locks of the week, bets of the week up. College football score predictions. Going to have college football bets of the week up as well. A lot of stuff going on there. More to come. But to the questions here. Trying to pull up these questions here. Daniel, start, bench, cut. Dolphins D versus Jets. Bills D versus Chiefs. And Packers D versus the Bucks. We're going to go with... We're gonna start the Dolphins versus the Jets. We're definitely gonna start them this week. If you gotta cut one, I'd probably, the Bills been pretty disappointing this year. I don't know if they get a ton of turnover. The Packers might get their hands on the ball going forward. That's tough. I'd probably cut the Bills defense. I always play defense by week. I mean, it's not always perfect, but it's not always pretty. But I've always, as long as I can remember, played defense by week. I only hung on to one defense, and I feel like I've had success in fantasy, so it's worked out. So again, sometimes it's not pretty, so if you don't feel comfortable doing that, but Bills and Packers D, I'm not really dying to keep those, but you also probably don't want to keep the Dolphins defense. It's great to start them this week against the Jets. That's pretty tough, but the Bills defense has been pretty disappointing, so I think the Packers have more of a chance going forward to get their hands on the ball, create turnovers. So that's why I would say that. From Brady Polk, I'm sorry if I'm staring at my screen. Got to read these, and I'm struggling here by myself, but Brady Polk, what do we got here? Scotty Miller or Kendrick Bourne? Probably Scotty Miller. It's certainly not a great situation to have. So with Lutz on a bye week, did I make the right move by picking up Ryan Suckup over? Sure. I don't know if you can. I play kicker bye week, and I usually hang on to my kicker that I like. But we've seen Koo got hurt at one point. He was the number one fantasy kicker. He got hurt at one point, so I'm all right with that. Dirty Dan flex, Phillip Lindsay, Christian Kirk, or Jamal Williams. For some reason, I am liking Jamal Williams this week. I think he gets more points than normal, but with this scenario, it's looking like Melvin Gordon is not going to play because of that DUI. He hasn't really been practicing. I don't think he's going to be suspended. I don't think. But it sounds like it'll be only Phillip Lindsay this week, versus Melvin Gordon. So Melvin Gordon going to be out. So I'm going to go Phillip Lindsay. I'd play Phillip Lindsay there. Playing a pretty good defense, but I'll still go Phillip Lindsay. Tony Benz, half PPR. He could start 3. Mike Evans, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, or Robbie Anderson. Diggs. Got to go Diggs. I'd probably go with the first 3. Robbie Anderson's been fantastic, playing a pretty good Bear. That's a tough one, though, because I think the speed of Anderson actually could beat the Bears' corners, but he's not going to beat them like crazy, I'd go with the first 3. I do think it's going to be more of a Godwin game over Evans, but Evans probably should score. Jefferson versus the Falcons. It's kind of a feeling, but I think the Vikings are going to come out throwing the ball. At least they should. Dalvin Cook hurt. I know they definitely trust Madison, but I think they're pissed about that last loss that they shouldn't have lost, and they probably regret not throwing the ball at the end there. But they're probably going to come out throwing. So I like Jefferson and Diggs. It's been absolutely fantastic. Chiefs game should be a shootout. So Evans, Jefferson, Diggs. I like those 3. Ezekiel Gonzalez and Saldi, Justin Jefferson, or Robbie Anderson. Yeah, that kind of answers that too. I'd probably go Jefferson. It's a pretty good situation to have. I would go with Jefferson. It's kind of a little bold because the Vikings love to run the ball, but I have a feeling they're going to come out throwing that ball. Absolute feeling that they're going to come out throwing, probably because they know they're confident that they can. against the Falcons. But that's just kind of my take. I think they probably regret not getting Jefferson going a little more last week. I think they're regretting that. So that's my take. Javier Carrera, David Johnson, Antonio Gibson, or Mostert as second running back. Also, you guys are the best. Appreciate you, Javier. David Johnson, Antonio Gibson, Mostert. Pretty good one here. Man, I mean, David Johnson, no. I'd probably go Mostert. I'd probably, another step, healthier. He played last week, looked pretty good, but when he got the chance. But Gibson could score, though. Gibson versus the Giants. I had to go Mostert. I think that's the safest play, and it's probably the best one as it is anyways. Chase Edmonds or David Montgomery, PPR. Man, that's a good one, too. PPR makes it interesting, even though they're getting Montgomery going on those wheel routes, maybe a little more Cordero than Montgomery, but Edmonds, they do like to throw the ball to, for a backup that's only going to get the ball 3-4 times a game in terms of carries. I think that'll actually go north. I think they'll up that maybe 6 times, but for a guy that's only getting that many carries, he's actually getting a pretty amount of, saying 4 targets a game. It's 4 catches, I should say, a game. I'd probably go Montgomery still. They're still probably, against the Cowboys. They're probably going to go Drake the load mostly. Montgomery probably punches one in. I think that's the safer play. Edmonds might have. No, Montgomery still has plenty of upside there. I'm gonna go Montgomery. Bobby Buff, start, bench, cut. You got Dalton, Teddy, Minshew. Start, bench, cut. If you gotta cut one. Minshew's been putting up a decent amount of points. I wouldn't trust him, though. I thought he would have been a pretty good play against the Dolphins. What was that, week 3? I thought that would have been a pretty good play, and he just, kind of pooped the bed there a little bit. So I'm afraid that could come back into play at any time. Dak was the number 1 fantasy quarterback going into last week. I had on my teams. He was number 1 fantasy points, actually. So will Dalton beat Dak? Probably not, but I don't think too far off. He has the supporting cast. So Dalton will get a good amount of points. I think keep him. And Teddy has been fantastic, so I'd keep him. I'd actually start Dalton this week. I'd start Dalton, bench Teddy, cut Minshew. I'm pretty confident on that. Well, I guess in the start part, Teddy's been good, but Bears defense is pretty good. I think Dalton has a pretty good game against the Cardinals, so that's kind of why. Down to clown, Trey Burton or Tyler Higbee. I'm not starting Burton. You gotta go Higbee. Yeah, I don't have a lot of trust in Burton. Higbee is pretty good too. That's a pretty easy one in my opinion. You never know at fantasy. That's why fantasy is so interesting. But Harris, should I trade Julio with his injury concerns? Having a hard time seeing right now. I mean, it depends on what else you have. I think that's a pretty good question. No, I think, because the injury keeps popping up. But I'm trying to think. If I had Julio, it depends on my other situation. If I had Julio and my other receivers were pretty solid and I needed a running back pretty bad, I'd be looking to trade him. I can't really tell you what you trade him for. It depends on who would be willing to trade somebody, but let's just say right now, actually, I can give you an example. I don't have Julio. Let's say I did. Let's say I had Julio right now with my other receivers, or I have Godwin. We'll take away Godwin. We'll throw in Julio just for the scenario. So I would have Julio, Keenan Allen, Robert Woods, and my running backs are an absolute mess on my actual team right now because of injuries, Saquon Barkley and company. I would be looking to trade Julio for a running back. So that would be my example there. I'd be looking to trade Julio for a running back for sure. Maybe you have it where I have Dak too. Maybe you just need a good quarterback to carry the load. So maybe that could come up into play there, Julio for a quarterback. I'd say if your team looks pretty damn good right now, if you have a really good record, I would usually avoid kind of trading. If your team's looking damn good, I kind of would avoid. I would hate to trade and my team going south. So hopefully that answers your question though. But yeah, if I had Julio and I needed something else that was pretty important, I'd be looking to trade for that. It depends on what people would trade. Maybe people don't value him that high in your league, so that kind of comes into play there. But it's definitely a good question because some people might be having that. Jose, start Myles Gaskin versus the Jets or David Johnson versus the Titans. That's a tough one. Because I I'm weird sometimes. I think David, because David Johnson's just a much better back, I might just have to go with David Johnson. Titans stopped the run pretty well against the Bills. They didn't against the Vikings, but that was against Dalvin Cook. Gaskin could get one in the end zone. I would have to go David Johnson. I would have to go David Johnson. That's a tough one, though. Down to clown Big Ben or Cam. Probably. That's tough. I'd go Cam. I'd do it. He was looking really good fantasy-wise before this, so and it's not like he's injured or anything. He's just getting over being sick. I think he's fine. Justin Jefferson, sometimes I got to scroll down like this. Justin Jefferson versus Atlanta, or and I got the Twitter on one screen, so that's why I'm doing that. People are probably confused. Justin Jefferson versus Atlanta, Kenny Galladay versus Jacksonville, no PPR, last flex. I would pick Kenny Galladay in that one. It's a great situation to have, though. You can't really go wrong, I feel like. So Kenny Galladay there. Start 3 from Bob here. Madison, Hunt, Taylor, Montgomery. The first 3, I think. Madison's going to take the lowest. See how many yards he got last week. Kareem Hunt, if you got him, I feel like you got to start him. And then Jonathan Taylor or Montgomery. I'd go Taylor. I go with the first 3 there. Bobby Buff, Mark Ingram, or Chase Edmonds. I'd go Chase Edmonds. I have Mark Ingram on one of my teams. I thought, and I'm gonna knock even though Edwards looks like their better back, but they were so good with Ingram last year. It worked so well, and that was the first year with them. Like, why wouldn't they go? Why would they go away from that? That was my thinking when drafting Ingram. And I don't. The Ravens only have one loss, but another offense isn't nearly as good as it was last year. So, it's definitely a guy to hang on to because at one point they'll kind of go back to that. But for now, I'd probably go Edmonds. He's probably going to get more points. It's pretty crazy to think about. 2 Real Sports Dynasty League ranked these 4 tight ends going forward the rest of this season and into next. Jonnu Smith, Noah Fant, T.J. Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert. That's good. That's some good young talented guys there. Ertz didn't get his contract extension. I would instantly put Goddard last just because he's splitting with Ertz, and I think the other guys are just better. But Ertz didn't get his extension yet. That could come into question. But I'd probably put Goddard last still just because I think Ertz will get that. Man, this is good. I really like Jonnu Smith. T.J. Hawkins is one of the better tight ends that I've scouted the last couple of years. I think he's really good. Like, he's really talented, and it's not really showing on the field right now how talented he is, and that's because of the Lions. I think the coaching staff. Coaching staff's about to change, I think, though. I love Fant. I'd put Hawkinson and Jonnu Smith at the top. So Fant's going to be 3 and Goddard's going to be 4, but that's a really good 3. It's a really good 3. This is tough because Jonnu Smith's so electric. They even hand him the ball. They give him slip screens. But TJ Hawkinson production will really shoot up. I think he can be like a George Kittle type guy. But because that's a little bit of a gamble, I'm being a little bold there. Smith, the way they use him is kind of already in place. I'd probably go Smith 1 just because it's a little safer to call 1. But Jonnu and Hawkinson are pretty close. It's a good question there. Landon Harvell, Montgomery or Gurley. I'd go Gurley. I trust, I don't think either are going to get a bunch of yards, like a ton of yards or anything. I'm going to trust Gurley to score, have a better chance to score than Montgomery. Benny Greenbaum, Montgomery or Gaskin also picked 2. First, we'll start. I'm going to go Montgomery over Gaskin. That's a tough one, though. Pick 2, A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, Devontae Parker. Ooh. That's a good situation to have. I think you got to go A.J. Brown. I think they're going to score it up on the Texans. He looked fantastic last week in his first game back. He's healthy. You got to go A.J. Brown. Woods or Parker. Man. That's if Woods versus the Niners, Parker versus the Jets. I I don't know. I probably go. This is gonna stump me here. Man, I probably go Woods. 49er, I'm trying to think of a negative to start with. It's a really good situation. I'm trying to think of something here. The only negative thing I could say about these two guys for the matchup this week, I mean, they're great players, so it's really not about their game at all. But the only thing I can think of is I don't really necessarily think this happens, but Dolphins could just be beating the Jets' ass right off the bat, and they can start running. And they're really not a team that does that, though. Where the Niners and Rams game could be pretty decent throughout the whole way. The Niners corners also really struggling because they're beat up. So I'd probably go Woods, but that is really a toss up. Chase Edmonds is full PPR too. Woods might get more action just because of that. The same reasons too. Edmonds over Darrell Henderson is RB2. Man, yeah. You never know what McVay's feeling. It could go Henderson, could go Akers, could go Brown. Ugh. Edmonds could score. Oh man, some of these are tough. Some of these are absolutely tough. There. I would probably. It's more of a gamble, I think. But either one's a gamble. I'd probably go Edmonds. Yeah, that's a tough one there. Blake Borovitz, James Robinson, or David Montgomery for RB2. I'd probably go James Robinson. That's a ton. All of a sudden, we're getting these really hard ones. James Robinson, I'd probably go with. Parker Kozlowski, probably said that wrong, so I apologize. Start 3 of 4. We got Gibson, Madison. Okay, you got to go Cooper, and you got to go Madison. I think Gibson scores. I'm going to say Gibson scores, so I'm going to go Cooper, Madison, Gibson. You did say 3 out of 4, right? Yes, you did. Hardman or Higgins? Higgins. Hardman's not really getting much action at all. He did score, was that a couple weeks ago? Rishi Bakta, start Edelman versus Broncos, Lamb versus Cardinals. I think you got to go Lamb. He's getting an insane amount of targets. I think you got to go Lamb. Amar, start Justin Jefferson for whole season and bench Mike Evans because he's injured sometimes. For whole season, you got to play it by week. You got to play it by week. For this week, I'd probably go. For this week, I'd probably gamble and go Justin Jefferson because I think it'd be more of a Godwin day for the Buccaneers. From Timmy, Stafford against Jacksonville or Goff for San Francisco. I think both should have a pretty good day. I'm feeling Stafford this week. I'm feeling Stafford. And there hasn't really been a moment where you kind of doubt the Lions' offense. Their offense just has been fine, and they've kind of blown a couple comebacks already. So I think they kind of know we just got to keep throwing. We got to keep throwing, and I think they'll do that. I think Stafford will have a pretty big game. Goff could too, but I'm gonna go Stafford on that one. We need a QB. Al Robinson, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Robbie Anderson, Will Fuller. Who should I start at wide receiver in 2? A.J. Brown and Mike Evans. Those are the 2. I like A.J. Brown for sure. Mike Evans. I mean, you can't go wrong with Allen Robinson either or Robbie Anderson. I'm going to go Brown and Evans, though. Diego, Brandon Cooks, or Juju for receiver 2. Let's see. The remaining guys. Wait, the remaining guy of the 2. Okay, I see what you're saying. I'd go Juju. I don't trust Brandon Cooks yet. One big game, really big game, but I'd go Juju. The Brandon Cooks getting 0 against the Vikings corners, just scares me. That was a couple weeks ago, I know, but I'll go Juju. And I go Mixon actually. I go Juju and Mixon. Brandon Cooks just still scares me. Michael Mertens. If the Broncos or Patriots is taking place, who should I play? Lindsey, Edmonds, Cooks, Judy, Edelman. Lindsey for RB1. I'd probably go Edelman. I think Judy could have a breakout game, but it's kind of a bold. Appreciate your content. You're doing a great job. Appreciate you. Yeah, Lindsey and Edelman I'd go. Chark, Edelman, Parker. You got to go Parker. Chark's questionable. I'm going to go, well, yeah, is it just one? All right, I'm choosing, if it's just one, I'm going Parker. I would choose Edelman as the next one. Roderick, Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Terry McLaurin. It's a good one. I'm feeling McLaurin. He's been fantastic. I think he scores this one too. I'm feeling McLaurin. Cooper Kupp or Chase Claypool. Oh, from Nick BLM. Oh man, Claypool after that game last week. But there's a chance he could score it up again, and there's a chance he gets like 2 points. Oh man, Cooper Kupp's good enough where you got to go Cooper Kupp. I think the Claypool, it could continue, but it's too much of a gamble right now. And Cooper Kupp's a great player, so you got to go Cooper Kupp. Josh Allen or Kyler Murray? I'd go Josh Allen. I think that's an absolute shootout in that game. And the Cardinals-Cowboys can be as well. I think Josh Allen versus Mahomes is a little more of a shootout. They also really can't get a run game going. They saw the way that Derek Carr threw on the Chiefs as well. So I think Josh Allen really gets going in this game. So I'll go with him. Juju or Justin Jefferson's receiver 3? I would go Justin Jefferson. I go Jefferson. That's a pretty good receiver 3. Pick 3, Claypool, Kittle, Tonyan, Landry, Cooper. You got to go Amari Cooper. You got to go George Kittle. And Odell's questionable. If Odell doesn't play, you go Jarvis Landry. Odell doesn't, so Cooper and Kittle are for sure. If Odell doesn't play, I go Landry. If Odell does play, it's going to take some reps away there. I go Claypool. A little bit of a gamble, but I go Claypool. Tonyan's still a little iffy on that. You could have 0 points or you could have that 30 point, but maybe you'll gamble for the 30, but I don't think that's going to happen again. But, okay, so recap it. Cooper, Kittle, Landry. If Odell plays, scratch Landry, Claypool. I mean, you can't go wrong with keeping Landry as well. But that's what I would go. Matt Ryan or Fitzmagic this week. That's pretty good. Fitzmagic's playing the Jets, ideal matchup. Matt Ryan could air the ball out in the Vikings. It felt like the Vikings coverage was getting better though last week. Maybe not in the last those last fourth down conversions, but I'm actually starting Fitzpatrick in my league, so I'm actually, maybe it's a little biased because he's on my team this week, but I'm gonna say Fitzmagic. I'm gonna say it. He's been feeling it. PPR league, do I start Lamb or Cooper as my flex? Ooh, the Cowboys receivers. Lamb's getting so many damn targets. Cooper kind of disappeared when Dalton came in too. I mean, we got like one catch. I mean, I'd go Lamb. Maybe that's bold of me. I just have to go Lamb. Pick 2, David Johnson, Joe Mixon, Mostert. That's tough. That is tough. Give me Mixon and Mostert. Give me Mixon and Mostert. That's tough though. Gaskin, Parker, Anderson, Crowder. Parker and Anderson. Parker and Anderson there. Miami or Steelers defense. Yeah, I go Miami against the Jets this week. Preston Williams or Travis Fulgham. Boy. Fulgham's getting all the action, but going against that Ravens secondary. Preston Williams versus the Jets. I'd still go Fulgham because he looked really good last week and he's getting the action. That's a tough one though. Does Beckham play Sunday? If I had to say, man, it's Friday. He's still at home sick. I would say yes. I think he does play, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I think he does. And then he's a guy that he doesn't really need to practice. It's just pure athleticism, pure talents there. It's not a guy that's going to be affected by not practicing. First off, I think they're just kind of playing it safe. If he feels good on Sunday, which I'm sure he's going to wake up and say he feels good to play, I think he'll play. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. J-Rex, Claypool, or Juju. I'd actually go Claypool. I think the focus will be on Juju. I think Denzel Ward will be on Juju. I'm going to go Claypool. Colbjorn, Bergstrom. Is there... Hold on, I got to fix where this is at here. Is there an upgrade to the squad you would recommend? I'm thinking either a running back, one or two, or elite tight end. Let's see. Quarterback's looking good. Receivers, Admin, Godwin, Crowder, Diggs, Cup, really good. McCaffrey, Gibson, Mostert, McKinnon, Murray, and Edmonds. Tight ends, Henry, Hawkinson. Yeah. Well, I don't know who's available, but I mean, right now, yeah, you definitely need an upgraded running back. But Mostert's getting healthier now. Gibson's getting better. McCaffrey, if he comes back, I think you got a really good team. Quarterbacks are great. Receivers are fantastic. Tight ends, Henry and Hawkinson's good. Colts D. I don't think the Colts D will probably go downhill a little bit compared to the way they're playing. You look at their schedule, they're playing. There's a stretch coming up. I can't tell you when specifically, but there's a stretch coming up very soon. It's a 3-game stretch with teams that really could score. So you could be looking to replace the Colts defense very soon, I think, actually. Running backs could be better. When McCaffrey comes back, you're looking pretty good, though, as long as Mostert also stays healthy. But, yeah, it's a pretty good team. Logan Hood. I play an 8-person league. My team is Murray, Henry, Connor, DJ, Hunt. Guys, what do you think would be a good package for Mark Andrews or Diggs? Is that all of it? Yeah. Kyler Murray. Is that Derrick Henry, James Conner? Is that David Johnson or is that DJ Moore? I'd probably say David Johnson, I think. Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This is a tough question. I don't know. Or Mark Andrews or Diggs. Will those guys even trade them? I would rather have. I don't know who your tight end is. It's kind of a weird question. I don't know. Diggs. I would love to have Diggs. It depends on what your other receivers are. Will that person trade him? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, maybe you want to trade. It's kind of a tough question. I don't know what else you have and which one you're trying to get. I don't know. I kind of put myself in the situation. Would I want to trade for these guys? Mark Andrews, I'm kind of iffy on. It depends on what my other tight end is. Diggs, I would love to have. Will that person accept Edwards-Helaire and maybe straight up? Depends on what they're looking for. Edwards-Helaire's reps could go down because Le'Veon Bell, but I think he'll still be the guy. So I don't know. Insert name here. Do I start Dalton Schultz against Cardinals or Eric Ebron against the Browns? Probably go Schultz. Kind of a toss-up one. JT, who should I start at running back 2? Antonio Gibson, Chase Edmonds, Myles Gaskin. I think Gibson scores this week. Kind of maybe a little bold to me. I don't know. I think he scores, gets some points, some yards. Tight end, Hawkinson or Graham. I go Hawkinson. I think Hawkinson scores as well. I mean, Graham could as well, but I go Hawkinson. Yankee Boy 25. Should I be worried about Julian Edelman this week if they even play? No, I think Edelman will be fine, I believe. Ryan Pollock. Let me fix this a bit. 8-team league. Myles Gaskin still available in my league. Do I pick them up and drop one of my other running backs? I got Elliott, Mostert, Robinson, Sanders, Jacobs. No. 8-team league. Gaskin's really not great. Appreciate you guys. Let's get to that 60K goal by Thanksgiving. I appreciate you for the support. Yeah, let's try to get there. It'll probably be close by Thanksgiving. We would really appreciate the support. Elron, start Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, or neither. Don't start Bell. Start Edwards-Helaire. I can't really tell you about that neither part because I don't know who your other running backs are. But Edwards-Helaire, I think, will have a pretty good game. So, Edwards-Helaire. Humphreys, Kirk, Patrick Williams. Is that Preston Williams? Preston Williams, if that's who that is. Need a flex spot, non-PPR. Cup, Sanders, Ryan Anderson, Robbie Anderson, James Robinson. Cooper Kupp? Probably go Cooper Kupp. Pretty good situation to have. Kupp or Anderson, I'm thinking about. I'd go Kupp. The guy. How many more of these we got? Oh my God, there's so many. Sadly, Lockett is on a bye, so I got Higgins or Gallup. Gallup. Definitely Gallup. Ethan, Darrell Henderson, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson. Max, I have Matt Ryan and Justin Herbert this week. Should I start Ryan or pick up somebody to start. Start Ryan. I picked up Fitzpatrick in my league. I'm going to start him. Just play Ryan. I'd say just play Ryan. Colts, whatever that says, something defenses. Pick 4, really, Allen Robinson, Marvin Jones, T.Y. Hilton, John Brown. Allen Robinson. Okay, wait. Pick Phillip Lindsay or J.K. Dobbins. Okay, yeah, so we're going to go Ridley, Robinson, T.Y. Hilton, John Brown, and Phillip Lindsay. Definitely Phillip Lindsay or J.K. Dobbins. Rivers is washed, 3-2. Devin Singletary, Brandon Cooks, Darius Slayton. Brandon Cooks, not really the best situation. Brandon Cooks it is. Crowder, Parker, Deontay Johnson. Is that Devontae Parker? It's got to be Devontae Parker with Dak now injured. I picked up Dalton. Me being a biased Cal, but should I have picked up Fitzpatrick over Dalton? Maybe Bridgewater with that receiver core. I think Dalton. Yeah, I had a similar situation. I had Dak injured as well, and I actually really wanted Dalton because Dak was getting that many points, and I just liked their offense, their receivers. But I picked up Fitzpatrick for this week in the risk of spoiling my plans to the rest of my. I don't think they're watching it, but it's possible that I keep Fitzpatrick, but I'm planning on playing Fitzpatrick this week and then possibly going Dalton, depending on how they play. But kind of my plan. Even though Dalton's sitting out there as a free agent, I actually think he could start most games for me this year because of that Dak injury. But Bridgewater, I'm surprised he's not on a team. Bridgewater might be a better option than both. That's tough. I kind of like Fitzpatrick for this week. I kind of like Dalton for the rest of the season. But if Dalton kind of shits the bed this week against the Cardinals, I'm really not going to like him too much anymore. So then we'll kind of have our answers here. Flex Cup over Gaskin. Cup. Ryan Tannehill or Stafford. I think the Titans win mainly running Derrick Henry. Maybe that's a little bit bold. It's not that bold. So I'm going to say Stafford airs it out. I'm going to go Stafford, actually. That might be a little bold. Chuck, Trey Lamar, or Josh Allen. I don't need both. I have a feeling. I can't really say on Josh Allen right now. I think Lamar tears it up maybe the last week are we in. Last stretch, 6-7 weeks, last 6 weeks, I think Lamar goes off. Maybe it's a little bold to me. That's kind of the playoffs. If you're confident you're going to get into playoffs, it's going to be really good to have Lamar then. So I'd say I'd hang on to him. But Josh Allen's been fantastic, so that's tough. Gaskin or Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones looked really good last week, and the Packers kind of struggled to tackle a little bit. Probably go Ronald Jones. Austin LeClue, need to bench 2. Bench Fuller and Juju. Start Parker, Godwin, Jefferson. Gaskin or Darrell Henderson. Gaskin. That's not a good situation to have. I just don't trust the Rams with their running backs. Cousins versus Atlanta. I'm going. Watson or Rodgers. Probably Rodgers. Probably Rodgers. Gaskin, Anderson need one for flex. I go Justin Jefferson. Keep it up. Best Football Channel on YouTube. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. Well, what did we say there? We said Rodgers at the toss-up. Rodgers and Jefferson. Yep. Appreciate the support. Start Herbert or Burrow. Herbert's got a bye, so you're going to be starting Burrow. Austin B., A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, or Slayton. Probably go A.J. Brown, if not Woods. Hardman or Chenault. I'd go Chenault. Start 3. Diggs and Godwin for sure. Probably Ridley. That's a really good situation to have. Diggs and Godwin for sure, then probably Ridley. Trade me. Make a team with 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Mahomes, 2 running backs. What do you got going here, Mel? It doesn't fit on here, so I'm gotta look over here. Mahomes, and then you got to go with those next 2 running backs. You got to go with Sanders and Robinson. 2 wide receivers. You're gonna go with Kenny Golladay and Mike Evans. You have 2 Josh Allens, and then flex. You're gonna go with Gallup. I'm looking through this again. Mahomes, Sanders, Robinson, Evans, Golladay, Gallup. That's what we're going with. Yeah. Yeah, he's so good that he has 2 Josh Allens. It's wild. The double Washington running back meta. I don't know who your other running backs are. You said you're short. It could work. I think Gibson has a pretty big day. And then what do we see here? Gibson or McLaurin PPR. I'm gonna go McLaurin actually, but I think both have a pretty good day. Boyd or Crowder. Give me Boyd. Tyler Boyd's looked really good this year. We have more. Got some. How are you feeling about Michael Thomas fantasy-wise with the injury and now I think he's going to be fine the rest of the year when he's playing. I think that's it. I think we're wrapping that up there. That's all of them. That's a long video. We're back every week with this. Usually got some other guys with me. Hopefully they're back with me next week. The Tuesday game really threw us off this week. But all the content's there. We got all kinds of content. Plenty more to come. Please subscribe. Click that like button. Turn notifications on me. Much appreciated. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.